Hey everyone, this is Crypto Dream. I got a lot for you. Just a little bit of time.
3, 2, 1, 0.
I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a guy on YouTube. Do your own research. So we saw that XRP has won their case, which is exciting news, and everyone's loving it, especially seeing this gain from 47 cents to 77 cents. There's been quite a bit of profit in 9 days. The SEC signals appeal to crypto Ripple ruling. This is by Michael, July 21st, 2023. Respectfully, those portions of the Ripple were wrongfully decided and the court should not follow them, the appeals reads. SEC staff is considering the various available avenues for further review and intends to recommend that the SEC seek such review. So the SEC adds that improperly transforms a decade-old test for determining when assets are securities, known as the Howey test, into a subjective standard. The agency asked the court to reject that part of the decision. The Howey test has different things and different subjective standards. One of the standards, just one, is are you buying with the intent to get a profit? Now, that could be interpreted for money. That could be interpreted for clothes. You know how many people collect stamps? You know how many times people buy stuff to resell? There's all kinds of things that isn't considered covered. Pokemon cards, all kinds of. Also have to state that XRP is not our savior. There's things that we have to watch out when it comes to XRP. XRP ledger, I should say. So you go to ripple.com/XRP. Using a private version of the public open source XRP ledger, central banks can use a secure, controlled, and flexible solution for the issuance and management of digital currencies. They said on their website that they're for CBDCs. Even though XRP winning is good for the industry, good for crypto, you still have to keep in mind that XRP is not the ones that are going to be saving us from the government. They want to work with the government. They want to work with banks. Speaking of government, the U.S. Department doubling crypto enforcement team, Joshua Ramos, July 21st, 2023. The U.S. Department is set to more than double its crypto enforcement team, according to the senior official, Nicole. The Wall Street Journal reported that the cryptocurrency task force is getting revamped after launching almost 2 years ago. Specifically, Nicole has said that the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team, NEC, remember that, is set to become a permanent fixture of the Justice Department's criminal division. Subsequently, the decision to more than double prosecutors was executed to keep pace with the team's growing caseload. The DOJ is pretty much run by Biden, so the president has his involvement in all this because he could control that. Speaking of politicians, we got a presidential candidate. RFK Jr. pledges the support for Bitcoin-backed dollar and tax exemption for BTC. See, this is what I'm talking about. Everyone's talking about regulation and how everything needs to be we have to work with government. Things need to be regulated. Things need to be taxed for us to have any standing with the government. Like Singapore, Germany, Switzerland, Puerto Rico, and Portugal, administration will exempt the conversion of Bitcoin to the US dollar from capital gains taxes, Kennedy said. Think about that. You could convert your money to Bitcoin and not have to worry, or Bitcoin to cash. I mean, why can't we just have it set up that way? Why can't we just put it in the books? Hey, this won't be taxed. This is exempt. This is completely different than anything else. We're exempting this. That's what I'm looking for. The presidential candidate and nephew of former U.S. President John F. Kennedy further said that he would support backing the U.S. dollar and treasury bills with hard assets such as Bitcoin. A Kennedy administration will begin to back the U.S. dollar with real finite assets such as gold, silver, platinum, and Bitcoin, Kennedy said. This will make it very difficult for him to become president because if you have a restraint on government and the Federal Reserve to print money, it's going to slow down inflation, the amount they're able to print off and devalue our currency. That's not going to sit right with a lot of politicians and all the people that benefit from such things. Now, this isn't just some article. You can actually look at his Twitter. He has stuff on Twitter. As president, I will make sure that your right to use and hold Bitcoin is inviolable. Bitcoin is not only a bulwark against totalitarianism and the manipulation of our money supply, it points the way towards a future in which government institutions are more transparent and more democratic. More democratic, more transparent. This is this man's opinion. When you hear people talk, you need to be able to eat the fish but spit out the bones. You don't need to absorb everything. Just take what he says and just kind of put it to your own mind and think it out. Does this sound right to you? Do you think that making it to where you can have Bitcoin and to be able to use it, do you think it would stop manipulation of our currency? Do you think it would make government institutions more transparent and democratic? You got lobbyists that push for all kinds of things that benefit them. But when currency and the money's transparent, it benefits all of us, if you ask me. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The claim that FedNow is not the first step toward a CBDC would be more easily digestible were we not aware Biden administration steadily barrage of hostile broadsides against cryptocurrency. He's competing with us, man, so keep that in mind. Between 2008-22, the Fed partnered with a handful of big banks to print 10 trillion, 10 centuries of wealth, 15 years. A bonanza for the bankster. It most definitely benefited the banksters, in my opinion. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin give the public an escape route from the splatter zone when this bubble invariably busts. So the White House is colluding with the banksters to keep us all trapped in the bubble of profiteering and control. This next part's going to tie into this real good. In his February 8 post on Pirate Wire, Nick Carter describes how the White House has organized banksters to participate in a sophisticated, widespread crackdown to destroy crypto industry. Carter describes 15 incidents where President Biden has weaponized FDIC, OCC, and DOJ to force crypto-friendly banks to close their doors to crypto firms since December 3. You might want to remember that and check that. The recent crackdown on crypto blocks exit ramps removes alternative rails and strengthens government's control over both financial and political systems. The saying goes, he who has the gold makes the rules. Gold, digital gold, money, whatever. Of course, political systems and corporations are going to be tightly knit. They both feed off each other. Government gets money from taxes or who knows what else. Corporations get money when the government can monopolize corporations like BlackRock. And it should not be acceptable to any of us that they would destroy our methods of transferring wealth from cryptocurrency to money to cryptocurrency, cryptocurrency to money. We should be wary since CBDCs are the ultimate mechanisms for social surveillance and control. This person says, the distinction between FedNow and CBDC is important from a technical standpoint, but not as a civil liberty standpoint. They compare FedNow to a virus that has evolved to evade recognition by changing its sequence without really changing its function. FedNow is to, not at this point, but build the foundation for instant transactions, which is one of the benefits of crypto. There's instant payments that you can pretty much do when it comes to PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, whatever. They're near instant. And it's not across the board CBDC. It's not across the board to all banks. This is just a step. Anything that leads to a CBDC, we kind of have to keep our eye out. Sort it all out so that we can come to our own conclusion. So we can be in the know when it comes to our senators, politicians, making decisions so that we can vote for what we want in our politicians. Going through the proper channels to do what is right for us, our future, our kids. Warren has previously made attacks on crypto. Skeptics such as Senator Warren, who tend to focus on crypto key use case as a tool for criminals, with a new section on preventing illicit finance. 3 of the provisions in the Lewis Gillibrand reamp were originally proposed by Senator Warren and Roger Marshall, and the controversial anti-money laundering focused bill last year. So we got other politicians going after crypto. So we have to be aware of these things. So BlackRock obviously did an ETF. Everyone knows about it. Everyone's excited about it because it brings Bitcoin to national attention. SEC has to decide if they're going to approve it or not. They're going through the proper methods. They have the money and the power to actually accomplish an ETF with Bitcoin. Remember, though, that a Bitcoin ETF is an exchange-traded fund that invests primarily in assets related to the original cryptocurrency Bitcoin. ETFs sell shares to investors on the open market and use the proceeds to build a portfolio of assets based on a market index, a stock market sector, another asset class like crypto. ETFs are similar to mutual funds. However, unlike mutual funds, ETFs are traded directly on the stock exchange, just like any other share. Bitcoin ETFs do not currently own Bitcoin itself. Rather, they own companies and other ETFs that are related to Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general, or they buy Bitcoin future contracts. They will not own Bitcoin necessarily, even though I'm sure that's been in the works or in the works. This fuels the industry of crypto, Bitcoin. Be careful, though. When you look at BlackRock, you see like BlackRock AUM climbs 4% to $9.43 trillion in quarter 2. BlackRock assets rise to 9.4 trillion during mid quarter. You know, BlackRock has a lot of power. Bitcoin Magazine says BlackRock ETF would supercharge the Bitcoin mining industry. So there's positives with BlackRock being involved in it. The goal of business is to gain money or power, or to serve a purpose, which company like that, business like that, who knows? We're keeping an eye on BlackRock and their ETF. The SEC published documents seeking public consultations last week on Bitcoin ETFs. The clock on the review process formally starts only when the filings are published in the registry. Initially, this sets a deadline of 45 days, but it can be extended to as long as 240 days. This could go on for a lot longer. SEC's looking into it. I'm sure they're trying to find a way of not approving it. I mean, they have already given a list of things that the BlackRock has to go over and verify and check and cross their T's. I'm saying all this to say that the struggle's not over. We have to keep everything in mind. We can't just, we need to take a time to celebrate the success, but we also have to remember that there's a lot to come. There's a lot of struggles to come. We have to keep broadcasting the purpose of decentralization. We have to keep broadcasting to our politicians the dangers of CBDCs and all these things. My hope in this video is that you guys be encouraged to continue to push and continue to do research to recognize that though we could have won, there's a lot more we could lose. Crypto Dream, if you enjoyed this watch, please like, share, subscribe, and if you could, check this out for me. Thank you.